Dude, how are you today?
Dude, I'm doing good. I'm really excited to be here, honestly.
Thank you so much. This has been, since I started this content thing, there's been like there were people I had in mind for it, and some of those people were the people who I sort of made, I guess, early connections with on Twitch, way back, I don't know, 9-ish months ago now. And you've been one of the first, like, since I started, I'm like, man, I gotta get Zephyrs on. And so very happy to have you here, dude.
Dude, thank you so much again, man. It's just mind-blowing just how fast 2020 flew through, and like it's crazy to think sometimes about like a lot of those early people,
Yeah.
because I feel like we both started streaming right around the same time, and there's still some people that are still going, but it feels like a lot of people kind of have stopped streaming, and that's totally fine. Like,
Yeah.
things in life happen, but it is really cool to see the couple people around you. It's like almost like your friends around you that are still going, like Cranberry Pudding, or my buddy like Money Benjamin. There's still like some really awesome streamers going like right around the same time. It's exciting.
It's great to see, and it's great to see the sort of growing success of other people and the channels and their communities kind of getting bigger and bigger. And then down to seeing like, I was recently looking at some of my old clips, working on some other video, and some of the early ones for me are so embarrassing because there's been such changes. And I don't like feel that same embarrassment for other people, of course, but just like seeing for lack of a better term, the increase in like production value of people's streams as well.
Yeah.
It's great to see that. And another interesting thing, we were talking a moment ago about Agus Kuhn's Final Fantasy VIII run, his speed runs. So I'm pretty sure that is where I first encountered your channel as well, was back when you were doing a Final Fantasy VIII run.
I think so, yeah. Like it's very interesting to like your very first few followers or like people like you interact with on Twitch. I think Final Fantasy VIII was where I met a lot of very first people who I met on Twitch. I think the only two that I know that I really met when playing Final Fantasy VII, which was like the game I played before 8, Money Benjamin and Cage Shinigami.
Oh yeah. Both names I recognize.
Kage, right? Kage.
I think it's Kage, but I've never tried it on stream, so
I think he told me one time it was pronounced Kage, but he's like, it would be so weird for Zeph to pronounce it that way. Like, please just keep calling me Cage. It's like, I'm Cage here. So, all right.
Love it. Yeah, I met you through Final Fantasy VIII. Cranberry Pudding also was doing Final Fantasy VIII at a similar time. It's great for me because that's one of my favorite games, and now seeing Agus doing has become like a speedrunner of this game. Like it's just perpetually part of my life. What did you think of that game ultimately? Because I know I think that was the first time you played it.
Yeah, I played it like years ago when I was much younger, and I think I got like halfway through it and just didn't really play much after it. So this was my first time like actually completing it, and it was there was some things about it that were really amazing. Like the music, of course, always outstanding.
The music's so good in 8 though.
It is, yeah. And I mean, I didn't love the junction system and the GFs and that, but I thought they were interesting, and I thought they were like fun to experiment with. But there were some things that I just weren't super crazy about. Like the characters were cool, but I felt like we didn't get enough focus on other characters outside of like Wall and Renoa and them. So yeah, and the love story, I don't know, it didn't hit for me the way like Garnet and Zidane's did, but I thought it was good. I don't know if I'll replay it again or maybe like later down the road, but it was okay. What about you? What'd you think?
Well, I mean, I love it, but I understand all the criticisms. The big one that I really agree with is the cast. Like the supporting cast, there are forgettable characters like Irvine, Selfie. They're kind of just there.
Yeah. It's like I just want more of them, but like after like disc 1 or disc 2, like they're just not, they don't have any much purpose, you
Yeah,
know?
they don't really have arcs. They're just kind of there to be part of the party. The focus is really on like Squall and Renoa and
Yeah.
Edea and the sorceress and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, the focus is a little bit weird at times, but I think for me, and of course the junction system's bizarre. I like that they did that. I'm glad that they didn't do that for all the Final Fantasies in the series, but I like that one exists with it, the kind of weird outlier.
Honestly, one of my favorite things about Final Fantasy, and the reason it's just like my favorite game series of all time, like always has been, is like every game there's so much similarity in the battle systems, but they always take liberties and like change a couple things for each one to make it different. And then the next one, they're like, whether the last one worked or it was flawed or whatever, we're going to just revamp it and do something new. Like every 7 and 8 and 9 and 10, and especially like 11 and 12, they're just all so different, but you like see the similarities between each one, you know?
For sure. And it's like that combination of the familiar with slight alterations. I remember somebody talking about how they go about making new Bond films, and they sort of say that there's always has to be a sense of familiarity and things that you expect. Like there's always going to be him trying out gadgets, and like there's always something, but there has to be like a take or a different shift on it. And
Right.
I think that's part of the fun, right? Is seeing like what will be ultimately familiar to you, and what is going to be the sort of the thing, and hopefully it doesn't feel like a gimmick.
Right. It's like you're always looking forward to seeing the chocobos and the Moogles, but then also like what story are they going to weave and tell that's going to, define this game and where is it going to sit in the franchise? So I totally agree.
Are you looking forward to 16?
I mean, yeah, of course. I'm definitely looking forward to 16, but I don't know. When I first saw the trailer on it, I was a little bit more mixed, but I guess kind of as I'm like reading more about it, I'm pretty excited. What about you?
Well, I mean, I live about 10 years behind. I'm about 10 years behind in terms of gaming, so I'll play it eventually. No, but I like the kind of return to a slightly more traditional world. Some have suggested that it might take place in Ivalice, which would be cool. I kind of I liked 12, and I like that kind of world. It's sort of, and I like that they can sometimes return to a pseudo-established world already, maybe 100 years in the future or whatever, because it kind of, I feel like then some of the focus that would otherwise be required to develop the lore of the place, they can work more on the story and the characters.
Yeah.
But who knows? I'll play it years and years after it comes out.
There's so many games to play. Like no matter what, there's just like the backlog is always growing. I've always thought of like Final Fantasy. I don't know if this is true at all. I don't think it is, but I've always just thought of like the world itself as Final Fantasy, and then just all of these games are just like timepieces within its like history. Maybe some of them are 10,000 years in the future, maybe some are 10,000 years in the past, or in medieval time, or in 2200 or whatever. Like it's kind of like different timepieces between them, and it makes it. Maybe that's why all the chocobos are there and the Moogles, and I don't know. Maybe there could be some kind of bearing and weight to that.
I love it. There's definitely thematic links as well. If you look at the really early ones, it's always the crystals and the powering the earth, and the sort of.
Have you played 14?
Have I played what? Sorry.
Have you played 14?
No, I've not played any of the MMOs. I don't know. I've just never really done MMOs.
Man, people are like I feel like every single person that's touched Final Fantasy 14 just is like converted into its religion, and like I need to preach about this. It's amazing. Like I know I'm missing out by not playing it. I really, really want to play it, but like everyone just raves about it. That and Hades. Like everybody talks about Hades. It's just like, this game's amazing.
Yeah, everyone's fallen in love with Hades, like hardcore. It's a pretty beautiful game. I'll give it that. It's the color palette is so vivid, and just feels alive. So yeah, I weirdly enough, like when a lot of people are playing, when a lot of people I know are streaming a game and really into it, I sort of feel less of a need to play it because I feel like I can just hang out with them and sort of experience it through them. But I've really enjoyed what I've seen of Hades.
I feel like there's like games where like I really want to play that, and then there's other games where I'm like, I'm not too sure, but maybe I'll watch one of my friends play it. And then there's just games I like have no interest in. So
yeah, no, right there with you. Unfortunately, sometimes I find out 5 hours after starting streaming a game that I have no interest in it, and must continue. Yeah. Hey, dude, this is something I've wanted to know for a long time. What got you into streaming on Twitch? What was the catalyst for all of that for you?
So I originally just kind of like early March, I kind of started buying some like recording gear because my favorite game of all time was getting remade, and I thought it would be really fun just completely for myself, just to like record my experience with it, just to see how I would react in certain parts. And around that same time, I started seeing this guy called Maximilian Dude like pop up. I recommended everywhere, obviously, because Final Fantasy VII Remake is right around the corner. And I was like, he streams on Twitch. Like, maybe I should go check this Twitch thing out. And I downloaded the app and just kind of watched him play a couple, watched some other people play. And I'm like, I mean, if I'm going to record it, maybe I could just stream it too. And maybe there'll be someone or 2 people or 3 people that can enjoy it with me and we can talk about it. And yeah, like I had no intention of really kind of streaming after Remake. I just kind of wanted to stream just Remake, but I just thought afterwards, like, it'd be fun to maybe play 8. I've never played 8. And then you kind of go, I could play 9 again, and then 10. And it's like, all of a sudden there's like 20 or 30 people coming like every single day. And I'm like, what do you guys want to play? Like what? And then it just kind of, snowballed from there. And it's been really cool just meeting so many awesome people, yourself, so many people from it. It's kind of been like a life-changing experience, honestly.
Yeah, no, I totally hear that. And that's a really kind of a really pure way to start, just like really wanting to like talk with people about a game that you like. And it's interesting, a lot of the people that I've met through this thing and befriended, a large portion of them have been through a similar sort of game style, have been through these kind of beloved childhood RPGs. And then, of course, everyone has different tastes around that. But like that story of, it seems like 7 Remake got a lot of people into this thing.
Yeah, it's man, it's so interesting with Final Fantasy 7. I feel like that's just like that, and there's like certain games that are just generation defining for some people. For some people it's like Ocarina of Time, for some people it's like Halo. But like, I mean, I was listening to a podcast a couple days ago on my way to work that had to do, I think it was like how to help out with like YouTube and kind of understanding the YouTube algorithm. And he had a couple, just some people on. One was like a financial person, the other was like a video gamer. And the video game guy was talking and he's like, I just remember I wanted to start streaming because like I loved playing Final Fantasy 7, and he had a Final Fantasy 7 story too. And I was just like, holy crap, like this, there's so many people that this game has just touched. And yeah, I think it's really important that when you do start streaming, if you're going to stream video games, like you want to do it with a game that you really, really, really enjoy and love. And yeah,
because that's how that's sort of where people get to see your passionate side. And Audax Smoke, I remember he said to me once that he likes playing games that bring out the like confidence in him, that bring out like the personality within him that he likes. And I mean, that's got to be games that are important to you, or that resonate with you somehow.
Yeah, and it's so cool. The coolest thing I think with Twitch is like there literally are video games for everybody. Like
Yeah.
there is a game out there that everybody can enjoy, whether people are playing like Call of Duty or Fortnite or poker or Final Fantasy or Dark Souls or Elder Scrolls or Minecraft. Like there's literally something out there that anybody can love. And I think that's just why so many people connect on Twitch is
Mm.
because like video games are such an easy middle ground conversation for people to meet each other and just be like, hey, I like Bloodborne, you like Bloodborne, what else do you like, nice to meet you. And it's really cool to just have met so many people, to be able to have conversations with people obviously halfway across the world. And it still blows my mind that that happens daily.
Did you when people started returning to your stream in the early days, and you started seeing a kind of what's the term for it? I don't want to say hype, but when you started seeing people, really have a desire to hang out in your channel. Were you at all taken aback by that or surprised by that?
Oh, dude, I'm still surprised by it. I'm just like, there's definitely some people who come like every single day, and it is so cool to just have this feeling of like genuine friendship with the person. And like, I genuinely care about like what's going on in your day. How's your day going? How's work going? How's life going? How's this game that you're playing? And just like even now, it just blows my mind, to be able to have relationships like 8 months, 9 months, soon it'll be a year, 2 years. I hope out of all of this at least get a chance to meet a lot of these people in real life one day.
Oh, man, I was thinking that the other day as well, actually. Like, dude, I'd really like to do that as well. And it's weird. I actually think that I will, in some, like, I don't know exactly how or in what specific circumstances, but I see that there are people that I will meet in the future, IRL, I guess, through this.
Make it happen. You got to like will it into existence, right?
Yep.
And
it's an excuse to travel too.
Right. Of course. Yeah. Traveling. What is that nowadays? But well, yes. Yeah. And it is cool. I've met my buddy Ice Beams. He was like moving from I think Arizona to Washington and passed through where I live, and we got to meet him, my wife and I, in person, and just give him a big hug. And I'm like, dude, like we met from Twitch and now we're in person, man. What's going on? It was such a really cool experience. And yeah, I hope whether it's TwitchCon or just even traveling and meeting up, it would be really cool to just meet so many of these people in real life.
Yeah, it's wild, isn't it? And I still find it quite exciting, like there is a sample size of humans that I would not have met otherwise in other endeavors or pursuits that is already kind of gigantic. But the scope of this thing is any day you can meet whole new circles of people, and it's sort of like sometimes it's like almost too big for me, the possibilities. Have you at all have you found any difficulty or challenge dealing with like wanting to have genuine sort of interactions with people you care about when just the sheer number kind of spirals a little bit?
Yeah, I'm definitely struggling. Like when chat moves really fast, it's really a struggle to kind of keep up. And like I never want to just kind of gloss over or like read someone's comment or something and just have them think like it wasn't important enough to delve into a conversation with like every single comment, everyone being there, whether for a moment or for the entirety of it, or whether it's one time or a million times, like everything is immensely deserved and or immensely appreciated. And yeah, just it is definitely tough to keep up with multiples at once. It's weird. I feel like there's almost like this paradigm kind of, I don't know, like right in the early right when you start streaming, I feel like it's really important that every single person that pops in your chat or talks to you or hangs out or whatever, like it's really important to spend as much time growing with them as possible.
Of
and
course.
and you know,
Yeah.
just kind of as chat gets like faster and faster and faster and more people get there, it's like, I don't know, do you kind of like start pulling back and being more focused on the game and like less interactivity because you can't really keep up with everyone? It's like this weird middle ground, you know?
It's a tricky balance, and I think it's
Yeah.
one that a lot of streamers think about at certain points, you know, because like obviously one of the things about your channel is how lovely a guy you are, and everyone like I'll be in other people's channels and they'll be like, oh, Zephyrs is back. Like people like really love being there, and I would say it is first and foremost for you, which I get, which is the best sign for a streamer. But then it is tricky, right? Because like if let's say if you had 1,000 viewers, concurrent viewers, which is, I mean, that's not that crazy in Twitch. Like it seems crazy to me, but like that happens. If you were to interact in the same way, it'd be impossible, right? There would be zero gameplay, and it's sort of like in one way that satisfies everyone, but then it probably doesn't satisfy part of the people there. It's hard to know. It's hard to know what the perfect balance is.
I think it is 100% that. And I think there are some people, definitely myself included, that overthink things. And I feel like there can be moments sometimes where I'm just like overthinking that. And I don't know, just get these like spurts of anxiety like while streaming. And I'm just like, I don't know what to do. We'll just keep playing the game and yeah, but like, I don't know. That's sometimes I mean, I always got my puppy dogs to kind of hang out with me and, you know, cuddle on them during streaming. So people seem to like the puppy dogs a lot, and that kind of helps with everything.
Yeah, yeah. No, it is interesting. Like I have some of those moments as well. I think everyone does. Like those moments where I'll be going for like 4 hours and everything's going smoothly, and I'm doing this and that, and you know, bouncing off chat, and then like I'll just have this like almost like an out of body experience where I'm like, oh my god, I'm streaming a video game right now. What am I going to talk about? And like just 5 minutes, and then I'll just kind of go into my shell and then come back out of it again, and it's a weird dynamic, and I think it's only natural that there's like moments of just I don't know, withdrawing a little bit within those hours and hours and hours of streaming.
It's like your mind just remembers like, holy shit, do you realize what we're doing right now? And then it freaks you out, and then yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now you have a bit of a you've definitely got a musical background, right?
Yeah, I definitely play music a lot.
Do you have a performance background as well?
I played a little bit in like high school, doing like in band and jazz band and stuff like that, and like a couple of like rock bands and stuff. But nothing like after that, so nothing too much.
Is that something that you're still interested in?
I've thought about, yeah, kind of doing maybe like a music stream like once a month or something like that. I mean, I play like ukulele a lot on stream, and people seem to like that.
Great.
But yeah, a lot of people have been asking for me to do like a piano stream, so I that might be coming in the future, possibly.
Nice. It's interesting. A lot of that's another common thread. Not with every streamer that I've chatted with on this, but at least half of them. There's a little like undertone of music there, which I find fascinating. Like, I guess they are both creative, somewhat performative endeavors. Do you see Twitch as a performance?
It definitely, yeah, in some way it's like a stage, you know, like a stage where you kind of go on and, you know, play your game or play your music or do art. Like art streams are like some of my favorite streams to hang out.
Yeah, they're
awesome.
awesome.
So like our artists blow my mind on the daily. And yeah, I've always thought of it as like a stage, you know, that you kind of go up on and do your part for 2, 3, 4, 5, however long you stream. And yeah, you just try to reflect on it and just make it better afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
Do
it
you think
is.
similar?
Sorry, what was that?
Do you think something kind of similar?
Yeah, I think so. It is a stage in a sense, but it's like a stage that like breaks the fourth wall a little bit. Like if it's one of those like stages where you kind of like an old
Interact with the audience.
exactly, you might get into the audience at points and yeah, I think it is. Are you a gamer?
Like, I mean, I think anybody that plays video games or maybe not even just video games, just like enjoys games in general, I see them as a gamer. So I mean, I'd say yes.
Okay. I'm just curious, like because someone's asked me that before, and I'm not sure. Like I sort of had to think about it. I'm like, well, I play games. I like games. Am I a gamer? I sometimes I feel like a gamer has to be like a pro or something like that. Like has to have like a pro chair and they're part of a team and they've like got like a Monster Energy drink or some shit like that.
G Fuel.
G Fuel, exactly. Yeah.
Everywhere. I've never tried G Fuel before, but some people like swear by it. And yeah, I read a comment on Twitter, or like a tweet on Twitter a couple weeks ago that was like G Fuel is like liquid cocaine, like liquid cocaine for gamers. Damn, the caffeine or whatever they put in it must be real.
For me, coffee is my G Fuel. Coffee.
Hey, I'll cheers to that, man.
Exactly. Dude. Coffee and water. Matter of fact, I might drink some of that. Yeah, I don't know. Like I just think about these things because one thing I've noticed about myself throughout like 9 months of streaming is that like I like games. I'm okay at them, but I'm not like fantastic at them.
Yeah.
And so that's like, it's weird. My perception of myself as a quote unquote gamer has changed through Twitch streaming to the point where I realized like, well, I'm more of like a personality who can pick up a controller and like sometimes get through a level, but maybe not always.
Yeah. And I feel like there's some people who maybe take that gamer philosophy like to the edge, and you know I don't know, I think there's some hardcore esports. I make millions of dollars from games or whatever, or just spend all day playing games. And I definitely feel a lot of what you were saying. Like I feel like as I've been streaming more and more, I've shifted my focus away from wanting to play video games just to wanting to chat and just be more interactive with the audience. Like, and I feel like some people maybe get caught up in this idea that Twitch is just for games, and it's not. Like the just chatting platform is huge, and it's just going to get bigger. Like the music performance section, the art section. Like I feel like this idea that Twitch is just a video game platform is changing more and more by each and every day.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, no shade to like pro gamers. Like that's definitely that's like a cool endeavor. But it's just like I just had a realization that that's like not my skill set, and I should just like not try and be that thing. But I agree. Like Twitch is this is a discussion I had with Zachary son. Just the ways in which Twitch is going. Some of the things he's been thinking of doing, some of the things he already has done, you know, like you see cooking streams, you see art streams, you know, people do like dancing, exercise streams, any kind of creative thing.
IRL streams are huge.
Yeah.
I mean, those are really tricky because of all the DMCA stuff and copyright. Music just and right by it could be a problem. But yeah, dude, people love IRL streams. Just it's so mind-blowingly interesting that people love watching their favorite streamer go to a store and buy stuff or just walk around outside. It's so interesting, but it's so fascinating at the same time. I love it.
It's a strange world. I had a realization yesterday on stream. I had a little break and I'm like, guys, do you mind if I just eat this custard tart? And I was eating this custard tart and then it sort of dawned on me, one of those moments like, what the hell is going on? I'm like, do you guys realize how weird the internet is, that there's like a room with all of you guys, and there's a URL you can type, and you'll just see me eating this custard tart right now. Like it struck me as so bizarre, and that's like not even close to the weirdest thing on Twitch at that time.
Did you ever have a moment like when you first started streaming, maybe like a streamer you interacted with at the beginning who really kind of just the light bulb went off and you're like, I want to do more of this. I want to like dive more into streaming, or did you just like dive in head first into it?
You know, that's a really good question. I sort of started, my origins were, well, I'd been a tangentially.
I don't know.
Tangentially. All right. Well, on a tangent. I'd been aware of Twitch, on the side, peripherally. There we go. On the periphery, I'd heard of Twitch. Wow, struggled through that one. And through like Magic the Gathering, like I knew a few people that like would stream on Twitch, Magic the Gathering, but it wasn't something that I like participated much in. I'd occasionally flick on to see if a friend was doing something. But I think the thing that kind of got me into it as something that I might want to do was I watched this streamer. Her name's Lily Alive, and she did a Resident Evil run. Like she did the first 3 Resident Evils and then 3 remakes of the Resident Evils. And I really just got into her kind of down to earth yet performative persona. And just there was something very magnetic about a certain personality really thoroughly enjoying these games. It was a blind run for all of the games as well, and I don't know, there was a little bit of magic I saw in that. There wasn't any like crazy gimmick or anything to her streams, but I just sort of realized, oh, this is a fun time, and like I'm gonna like watch her play the second Resident Evil now, and that kind of the addiction began.
Isn't it interesting how like Twitch is almost like you find streamers by the game that they're playing, but stay there for the streamer.
Yeah.
You know? It's like you come for the game and then you stay for the streamer. And yeah, that's 100% true. That's really, really, really cool. I think it's really interesting when you think that there's someone out there in the world who will be, you know, who just enjoys your company, regardless how big or how small or what kind of stream you have. You know, there's always friends out there who want someone to talk to, and to hang out.
It's you know, I've heard that a few times when people have said they've like genuinely thanked me for doing the stream, and those moments have been even bigger light bulb moments. Like, wow, this is actually, not only is this fun for me and fulfilling for me, this is something that like some people, it makes their day just a little bit better, and that's incredible. That's such a great feeling.
And I had somebody message me on Twitter a couple weeks ago and said like the best part of their day is like they always look forward to when I start streaming. And it was just such a weird but like good weird, but it was just like, holy crap, like there's people out there that like really enjoy hanging out with me. And it is like, I'm just a guy who works in retail and, you know, comes home to wife and pups, and like I don't think there's anything extraordinary about my life. But you know, there's friends all around the world who, you know, just kind of everyone kind of gravitates to people they really enjoy, and you know, there are real friendships to be had.
It's surreal, you know, seeing the value that we can have for other people, and I think it's great. It's a great way of unlocking things in yourself, of unlocking maybe not unlocking things in yourself, but like understanding what is valuable about yourself a little more. And I think for me, I don't mean to sound like a narcissist or self-obsessed or anything like that, but you know, like I've become more aware of my strengths alongside my weaknesses this year, as a human being, because you're just exposed for so long. You sort of see what works and what doesn't, and I think that's healthy, I think.
I absolutely agree. I think it's really really important too for people to just embrace, their strong points and their weak points, and just
Yep.
understand like that's who they are in general. And um yeah, I think it's awesome how streaming really unlocks just this a lot of creativity, because there's a
Mm.
lot that can go into streaming. You can put as much effort into it or as little as you want, and I mean, if you put some good effort in, I mean, you can do some pretty crazy things,
Oh
like
yeah.
creativity wise, like setting your stream up wise, or just like creating content. That like there's a lot of really interesting things people do, and it really does unlock that creativity, I think.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things. And there's always more to do. There's always other ideas. There's always things that haven't been done. In so many ways, this is a new kind of era of entertainment, a new era of creativity, and
Right.
and
Yeah.
seeing your channel, seeing Zachary's son's channel, Cranberry's channel, seeing Aguskun's channel, so on and so forth, seeing all these great creators sort of grow and do different things, I'll sometimes go, oh, you can do that. Oh, and I never try to copy anyone or do anything like that, but I'm frequently like inspired, these like little micro inspirations from other people, and it's awesome, dude. Really cool.
Yeah, I feel like that's, just everyone kind of gets inspired by, what's in their head, and then all their influences from everywhere, and we all have like different influences, and some of them overlap and some of them don't overlap. And it's just like your brand or who you are, whatever you want to do, whatever kind of content you want to stream or create, just kind of starts to boil down into all of your influences together. And it's so fascinating seeing everyone, and people trying new ideas, and people trying just to grow. I think it's super fascinating.
Oh yeah, dude. Um, hey, dude.
Hmm.
We sort of spoke about this briefly before recording, but I would like to know more about it. You're very busy right now, right?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things going on in life.
Yeah. So what I want to know about, because you're a very frequent streamer, you're very I don't know how many that you used to be. Weren't you every day for the first
Yeah,
100 days or more?
yeah, I for when I first started, I streamed every single day for 160 days in a
Boom,
row.
boom.
uh, it was a lot. And I just kind of have always had the philosophy, like, if you want to learn a new habit,
Mm,
the best way to do it is to do it every single day for like 30 days or 60 days. And then after that, kind of reflect and be like, okay, maybe I don't need to do this every day now, but I should still do it frequently.
yeah.
And I mean, the pandemic was going, and my wife and I were stay at home. So we're just kind of like, well, I mean, what else is there to do?
Mm,
And just kind of kept going more and more with it. I think I probably did go longer than I should have, because like that last month I was just like, man, I don't know if I want to do this like every single day.
mm,
Uh,
mm.
so I think it is really important for people to self-reflect and to know their limits. But it was a great experience, and I really learned a lot from it.
That's crazy. That's nearly half a year of streaming every day. Um, but I think the whatever happened in 2020 to a lot of people, it can be seen as an opportunity if you're in the right circumstances. And yeah, it's cool to see that you made the most of that. But now you're back at work, right?
Yeah, so yeah, I'm working. I mean, schedule kind of changes, but usually it's like Thursday through like Monday time.
How are you finding juggling both things?
Um, it's I mean, I feel like I do it early, like super early in the morning. So like there's always time for it. And I feel like having proper time management for not only streaming and life, but just like so many other things,
Mm,
like proper time management, and having a really organized calendar is like incredibly important. Um, but I'm making time with it. Just got to
mm.
make sure to wake up at 5:30 and kind of get going with it.
So what time? So what time do you start your time? Is it like 6 a.m. when you start?
So I start at 7 a.m.
Okay.
wake up like 5:30, 5:45, and you just kind of get up, take the pups out, do a couple morning chores, make coffee, and then by the time it's like 7 a.m., I'm like running in here and hoping everything works when I press OBS. And if it doesn't work, I'm sure like it's so frustrating when you're ready to stream and then camera's not working or the mic's not working or the game's not working, and you're just like, there's so many things you need to go right, and it just takes one thing to fall apart.
Well, and I totally understand, and that's I would say one of my weaknesses as a streamer, or just as a human, is being able to keep a positive front when under duress, let's say.
Yeah.
And like I do try, but like I tend to be a little grumpy in the mornings, and especially if let's say my cam doesn't work, or if I start dropping frames, or so on. Insert technical difficulty here. But I've seen through watching so many friends' streams that technical difficulties seem ubiquitous. Like it seems like it's just part of at least the growing experience. And yeah, I do my best to not let them affect me. Do they affect you as much as they affect me?
I'm kind of the same mindset, just like it's kind of part of the live streaming in the moment game. Like if one thing, and there's so many things you have to rely on to make this happen. If just one thing goes out, it can kind of have a domino effect, and it just kind of is what it is. And you just gotta. One of my favorite quotes actually was from a customer who came into our store randomly like a year ago, and he had this really cool shirt on that said, what was it, like, it's not about how you, or it's like, it's not about the wave, it's how you ride the wave. And like, I think that's really important, is just like life is going to throw crazy things at you, or your stream's not going to work, and you just gotta put a smile on and ride it out.
Yeah, I like that. It's kind of similar to the like the poker analogy, that whatever hand you're getting dealt, you're going to get dealt, but you can play that well or play it poorly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're all dealt different hands.
Absolutely.
Some of us have ton of aces right from the very beginning, and others not so much. And it's just just reflect on kind of what you got and make the most of it, and just try to grow from it. I had a moment a couple years back that like completely transformed my whole life, and it was this moment where I was just like, what if instead of looking at everything bad that happens in my life as like a woe is me, life bad, kind of boohoo kind of thing, I like reframed it in my head as like, everything that happens that's bad is, for better or worse, like it's like my fault and my responsibility, and I need to take ownership and do my own part in changing it. And that's like completely transformed my entire life. So
I like
I
that.
totally agree with everything you're saying. Yeah.
I really like that. And sometimes I look back to moments in my life where, like, for example, where I had knee surgery and I couldn't walk for 6 months. I remember myself in that moment thinking like, man, when I can walk again, life is going to be so good. Like when I can walk again, like what more could I want? And it's sort of, I like to remind myself of that, because it's like, well, I'm here, I did it, and we're so quick to reshift our expectations. Like, I have good health now, so now I want to worry about other things that I need to improve, and and to potentially be dissatisfied with or want more from. And I like to remind myself that like there was a time that all I wanted was to be able to walk, and I can walk, so life is good.
When you did kind of get up and were able to kind of start walking, did you have like a renewed appreciation for it a little bit?
For a time, but then as the months pass, you sort of it turns into normality, and that's why I have to remind myself now, because it was so long ago. But it's those things are important, I think, and that's why I think like challenges are important as well, because you can sort of look back and look at what you have overcome and apply that to the future. Anyway, I don't mean to try to sound like some C grade guru over here. Let's move on.
No. I thought a lot of that was really fascinating. I agree with a lot of that.
Oh, dude. Okay. Yeah. Here we go. So I've gotten written down here. I'll read the exact words I've got written down here, and let's see if you can figure out what it is that I'm trying to ask you.
Okay.
Soulsborne is a game changer, and then in parentheses, Bloodborne, apparently Zephyr's favorite game of 2020. Is this true, or did I make this up?
Oh, Bloodborne being my favorite game of 2020. Yeah, it absolutely was. It was super fun. It was, people have been telling me I think since like Final Fantasy 8 or Final Fantasy 9 that I had to play Bloodborne. Like it was weird, like nobody said I had to play Dark Souls 3 or Dark Souls or whatever. Like everyone just kind of kept saying Bloodborne. I finally got Bloodborne, like, okay, we'll finally try it and see what it's all about. And oh yeah, it was a great game. Absolutely must play. Definitely got to play it.
And has this, my experience with the Souls addiction, or yeah, for me it's an addiction, is that I kind of find that other games suffer from not being Souls games. Once I've fallen in love with these games, they kind of suffer from not being, I don't want to say as good, but not being satisfying in the same way.
Yes. So I'm replaying Final Fantasy VII Remake like off stream right now. Just kind of playing through it for the second time. And oh my God, I noticed everything. It's like Bloodborne has almost changed my perspective on games in the sense I'm like, why is there a healing bench every 10 feet? Why is it giving me healing materia all the time? Why is there just healing everywhere? And it's, oh yeah, I feel like after playing Bloodborne, I just so much notice when the game is like holding my hand and like, come on, I really want to take you to the next part of the game. Whereas like in Bloodborne or Demon Souls or just any of the Souls game, like you get to the next point when you get to the next point and defeat that boss. It doesn't matter if it's one try or 100 tries, like you have to like earn that progression, you know?
Yeah. And I found it, it's like a psychological paradigm shift as well. And like obviously we're just talking about games, but I think games are a form of art, and art can kind of reflect life. Like there is something for me about the fact that you have to find it within yourself to get to the next place. Like you know, it's not a game that wants you to love it because it's helping you love it, or like you kind of have to find the love for it in a way, which makes it even stronger.
No, I totally agree. And I honestly, I might be in the minority, but I really thought the Bloodborne difficulty is not as bad as everyone made it out to be. I really think a lot of people were like overhyping the difficulty. I just think it was maybe more difficult than your average game, and it was definitely aggressive, but like after a couple hours of playing it, I think, you know, the feel of it really set in, and I'm like, it's not that bad.
Well, and there's a moment where it clicks for people. I mean, and I'm speaking, I should be clear, I'm speaking from a Dark Souls background, but they share a lot in common, obviously.
Yeah.
There's a moment where it seems impossible, and that moment often extends for hours, if not dozens of hours. But then there's a moment where it clicks, and I mean, you see people do no death runs. Like you see people who are able to, once you get it, it's very fair.
Yeah.
It just demands a lot in the first place, I guess.
No, I totally agree. And I think I don't know if it's just people or like video games, but it seems like games that really challenge you and force you to have the will to overcome the difficulty definitely feel few and far between. So, you know, when a good challenge presents itself and you are fairly able to overcome it, I think that's why a lot of people have that like smash the table because you defeated the boss. You're so ecstatic. You're like, I did it.
That joy.
And I mean, right. And I'm like, you don't really get that from a lot of other games, you know?
Was there a specific boss? Because often there's a specific boss that is kind of the moment of enlightenment for Soulsborne players, where they finally got through that brick wall, and then they go, "Oh, okay, what's next?"
Yeah, on Bloodborne for me, it was the second boss. It was Father Gascoigne.
Oh yeah, Father Gat. He's hard, right?
Yeah, I think I fought him like 5 or 10 times, and I'm just like, dude, why is this boss so damn hard at the very beginning of the game? Like,
Yeah.
what is this? And then right at the very end, I was able to like parry him, like shoot him, and then like parry him for a moment and get a critical attack in. And I was like, oh, you can do that. This is how you play the game. And then just after that, it all became like a timing thing and a parry window thing, and just like, oh yeah, that was the moment where I'm like, oh, this is how you play it.
And it is, in many senses, a puzzle game. Like everything is like, obviously there's dexterity required and, you know, button input required, but it's, what am I doing wrong this time? Like, what am I supposed to be doing here? Like, I really love that kind of problem solving aspect to it as well.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of speedrunners are like those people that do the no hit death runs kind of thing. They've like perfectly figured out those puzzles, and for each and every boss, because there's like some bosses you can kind of just hack it away, and it's not the optimized or like efficient way to do it, but you can kind of wear them down over time. But then if you follow the right strategy, you can get the boss down in like 10 seconds.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, figuring out that puzzle is part of what makes it so fascinating.
And you're currently playing Demon Souls, which I've seen a bit of on stream. Last I saw, you were in the tower region with the gargoyles.
Oh god.
Have you made it to the boss of that area?
The man-eaters, the two of them. So yeah, I've been fighting them on stream for like the last, I think, 3 days. And yesterday, I think it was yesterday. Oh, I'm so heartbroken just to even say this. I defeated one and then got the second one all the way down to like literally 1%. Like one hit. And I ran up to it to swing, and it like smashed me and killed me, and it literally had like 1% health left. And that was already like, GG's, good job, you did it. And then just everyone was like, oh my god, I can't believe that just happened.
That's devastating. That's so devastating.
Because I've like fought this boss like 20, 25 times. It's been so damn frustrating, and I'm like, it was right there, man. It was right there.
A lot of people consider that the one of, if not the hardest boss in the game. That I spent a lot of time on that boss too. For me though, it was there's another one. I don't want to spoil much for you. You might have already fought. Have you fought the Flame Lurker?
Yes.
For me, it was the Flame Lurker. That thing just eviscerated me again and again and again. Like I couldn't deal with its like when it starts spamming that like kind of AoE attack it has. Like I just had no idea what to do, and then it got inside my head, and then I started like defeating myself. Like, oh my god.
Isn't it interesting where, because I felt that a lot on Bloodborne, where you'd like go up against a difficult boss, and you know, like after the 5th or 6th or 7th time, you're just like dying within the first 10 seconds, and you've already lost in your head before the fight even begins.
Yeah.
I think I started putting this like mental limit on myself, like when I was towards the end of Bloodborne, like I'm only going to fight this boss like 5 times, and if it defeats me after that, I'm going to move and do something else and then come back to it later.
That's an interesting approach, actually. I think that's probably good for one's mental health and probably an efficient way to just like, get out of your own head, because you can get in some weird states of mind with bosses. Like I've gone through some journeys with bosses where you start off nearly killing them. I think the Flame Lurker, I nearly killed it the first time I fought it. And I was like, oh, this is whatever. It's not that hard. And then 40 deaths later, like I'm just,
and then you're like, how did that happen the first try that I was right there? Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. I think it's because you don't fear it yet. And once you start fearing it, you sort of act like fearfully, which is you kind of make it worse.
I did that with Orphan of Cause on Bloodborne, which everyone says Orphan is like the toughest. I've had a lot of people were saying it's like the hardest Soulsborne boss of any of the games, like it's the hardest one.
Yeah.
And I think I got it on my second try, and the first try I died like super fast, so I didn't even get like much like playing around with him. And I was just like, what is everyone freaking out about? This wasn't that bad. And everyone was just flooding my chat like, you just got so lucky. You have no idea how difficult this boss is. And I'm like, whatever.
So wait, you beat the Orphan of Kos in 2 shots? Is that what you just told me?
Yeah, on the second try.
Wow.
And then I did the same with Ludwig. Like Ludwig beat on the second try as well. And just everyone was like, you just got so lucky. You don't understand how hard this boss is.
Dude, nicely done. I've seen those bosses, especially the Orphan, just do a number on streamers. Like they're, yeah.
I definitely think there was a lot of luck. It's interesting going back and watching. Like, do you ever go back and watch some of your boss fights and you're like, oh, I definitely got lucky right there, or the RNG was super favoring me?
Yes. But I have such a lack of self-awareness that I'm like, that was perfect by me. Nothing, no luck at all. It's only luck if it goes against me. It's skill if I win.
Right, exactly. Right.
So yeah, you've gotten deep into the throes of Soulsborne games.
Honestly, one of the things too, like I love talking to people about the Souls games is, and I've only experienced it with Bloodborne and Demon Souls so far, is like what everyone has different like each boss is like more or less difficult for each person. Like for you, the Flame Lurker was like the toughest one, but I think I defeated the Flame Lurker on like my second or third try.
Oh my god.
Didn't is that hard at all? And but that's what's so fun, is like someone will be like, oh, it's taking you 30 times on this boss. I beat him the first try. And you're just like, how?
It's weird. Yeah, different because different bosses punish different play styles, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, because the man-eaters for me were hard. Don't get me wrong, they were hard. I died a lot, but they didn't get to that level. They were probably the second hardest for me in the game. But that's because I'd fought, like it sort of reminded me of a fight in Dark Souls, where you have to fight the 2 bosses at once. And so like I sort of had like a mindset of like, okay, like I kind of get how I can do this, like if I just kind of divide and conquer. But there's something about just like the aggressiveness of that one boss that like just like put me on tilt. And yeah, it's weird, right? Weird.
Yeah. And then on that boss too, like it's so easy to just fall off the side of the building and die.
Yeah.
Gravity has killed me so much in this game. The gravity is the real boss of the Souls games.
It totally is.
But, yeah, it's so interesting is like it doesn't even feel like the Man-Eater is a tough boss. It's just because there's a second one that it's a tough boss.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting how, game developers can kind of do that and just be like, maybe this is too easy. If we just add a second of the exact same one, now it's really challenging.
Yeah. Well, there's a boss in Dark Souls that is notorious for some, and it's one of those ones that some people are like, oh man, this thing's the worst. It's the Capra Demon. And for me, I didn't have that much trouble with it because I came a little later in the game and I was more leveled up. But like the boss itself is, like a tricky enemy, but what they've done is they've just stuffed it in this tiny room with 2 dogs. And so it's really the fact that you're just in this box with this thing that makes it hard. It's sort of a sadistic game development.
Yeah. Honestly, like I feel like that's why people love randomizers so much with these games, is taking these huge bosses and putting them in a small room they're not supposed to be in.
Right.
Just creates so much more difficulty. And yeah, I've seen some Bloodborne randomizers where they'll take like the big bosses like Ludwig or Amygdala and just put them in these like small little rooms, and they're just like very, very, I mean, the game is already difficult as it is, but just makes it even more difficult. So yeah.
People are gluttons for punishment. Man, you've been streaming for nearly a year now. Do you have what would you say has been your greatest challenge or the greatest thing you've had to overcome streaming?
Um, I feel like this may sound really weird, but I feel like using social media,
Hmm.
I really, really, there's some people who just like live on social media, and some people just, I'm definitely not that person. Like, I really struggle to get on Twitter or Instagram and stuff like that. And sometimes it feels a little forced, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And, but like, I know that if I'm not on these platforms, I'm doing like a disservice to myself, and like there's just so many reasons to be on social media. But yeah, like for all the privacy concern reasons, for all the, just like very philosophical reasons, I've just never been a big social media user. So trying to come out of that and develop an actual brand, that's what they call it, has pretty difficult. What about you?
Well, I've had several, but what you just mentioned there is definitely one of my weaknesses or one of my struggles also. I've not been a I've never been a big time social media user. And that's sort of a little bit problematic when, in a way, Twitch is a kind of social media.
Yeah, yeah,
But if the difference is that I like Twitch versus some of the other ones, or I feel more comfortable with that form of communication. I it's interesting that you say it sometimes feels forced. Some of these other things, it almost always feels forced by me. Like it's like a language I never learnt, or it's like a version of English that I never learnt. And yeah, I'm still not sure. Like even as far as Discord, like I love that I have the Discord and hanging out on it. But I still feel like I don't know. I still feel like I'm operating on like a 5-year-old level on Discord.
you
You know,
totally relate to that.
yeah, yeah. It's like I feel like there's some secrets that I haven't uncovered, or like there's just like an approach to it, or it probably goes down to like a base philosophical level though, because if I were not streaming, I probably wouldn't be using it,
Same.
which is weird, right? There's a kind of inauthenticity in that. Um, which is I'm a little bit loath to admit, but it's true though.
Yeah. I'm the exact same way about like pretty much every social media platform except, I mean, well, no, even Twitter. I mean, I never really used Twitter or anything just before streaming. I mean, I'd occasionally get on, but yeah, there's just, I don't know. I feel like we might be in the same philosophical realm of just like we just really kind of like to live our lives in person, maybe more so than living them online. And I feel like maybe it's just how old we are. I feel like we're right around the same age, but maybe people younger than us just aren't in that same kind of state of mind. They really, almost the online world is almost more important than their actual physical world sometimes. And I don't know. I relate a lot to what you're saying.
Very interesting because at the one time, on the one hand, I totally agree. I totally agree, and I think it's probably an age thing. For me, there is something look. There's a privacy thing as well, where I don't feel the need to share all of my thoughts. I don't feel the need to share all of my experiences.
Right.
And you know what it is? It's not that I don't want to. It's that like, well, no one asked. Like
Right.
no one asked me to share it. So why am I doing it? Um,
Maybe there's someone, there's definitely a lot of people opposite of that who they do share their experience and they share everything. They share where they're going, what they're thinking, what they're doing, and they just blast it out on the internet for everyone to see.
mm,
And yeah, I'm in the same realm as you. So sorry, but yeah, I very much agree. Yeah.
but there is, Zephyrs, there's a hypocrisy to this with both of us, because here we are on the one hand saying that, and then we're trying to stream. Well, we are streaming, which is a kind of sharing of stream of consciousness. And so I think it to some it may seem like we want to have our cake and eat it too. But so be it. I think the reason that I'm okay with that, and I just felt the need to acknowledge that there's some hypocrisy in our take, is that I just feel that the Twitch method or the streaming method or the more long form method feels to me a way that I can be a bit more true to myself while being an online presence. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that's a big reason why podcasts or, live streams, these very long form, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour things have become more and more popular. Is I think a lot of people are just really sick and tired of 30-second sound bites that have, 3 sentences that you can't really garner too much information from. So yeah, I think long form content absolutely is can be a lot more authentic than a 10 or 15 minute, super edited, super finely, put together video would be.
Yeah. Interesting. There's there's a YouTube channel I follow. This guy who, he generally does, sort of gaming stuff, and there's a bit of human interest in it as well. And last night, I think was it last night or maybe the night before, I was like just popping something on while I was like having a snack or something like that, and it was this 40-minute. Normally he does like 10 to 20-minute kind of videos. Is this 40-minute video of like his 2020, and he like goes in depth about like all this really personal stuff, and he has like 250,000 followers or subscribers, so it's not just like people are going to hear it. And I was thinking like at the start, I'm like, man, like you're sharing a lot, like you're talking about the problems with your wife's pregnancy and this illness and these deaths and at first I'm like wow, like that's a
lot of personal info.
It's a lot of personal stuff, and I hope that like is everyone cool with you saying this stuff and about everyone who you're mentioning, and I mean I'm sure they are, but by the end of it there was something deeply personal about it and quite touching about it, even though he was sharing it to like even though there was like 40,000 views or something like that, and so I don't know, that was one of those things that felt like a little bit of a challenge to my notions of like what you should keep to yourself and what you should share, because I tend to keep a lot of stuff to myself even still.
I think, but at the same time, when people really value a content creator, a streamer, or a personality online that they really connect with, an influencer, as that seems to be a popular term nowadays. I think when people really connect with a person like that, when they do share like a life update like that, I feel like a lot of people, it almost like strengthens that connection you have with them, because it like brings them back down to like earth level, like this is just another person with real life issues, family issues or work issues or like real struggles, and it really like humanizes them at the same time.
That's true. That is very true.
There's a YouTuber that like I really really like. He does a lot of movie reviews, and he just released a video that was talking about how he was kind of brought up in this very strong religion, and he just left the religion, and like his thoughts about that.
Wow.
And same, he usually does like 10-minute videos, and this was like an hour long, and I jumped right into it like, oh dude, this is super exciting to learn more about someone who I've watched for years and kind of get a little peek behind in their personal life. I think a lot of people really value that.
Yeah, I do see the value in it. I think it kind of goes
like every video, right?
What's that?
As long as it's not like every video, or just kind of more of like once a year kind of update kind of thing,
Yeah, well then it becomes the brand, right? Like if it's every video, then that's suddenly your thing.
Right.
Yeah, I guess it kind of goes a little bit counter to the way I was raised. That might be it. Like I think I'm raised in a pretty like Anglo UK heritage of stiff upper lip, as they say, and kind of
Put a face on.
put a face on, you know, escape, you know, dealing with your issues through like a sardonic sense of humor and self-deprecation. That's the English way. But yeah, I think maybe I've had you know, with it, not, I haven't really thought about it per se, but I think subconsciously it's probably something that, like, I don't know if, like, you know, 5,000, 10,000, 100,000, a million people see me being this honest, someone might use it against me. But that's like, I don't think that's how it works.
Yeah, I mean, it is a weird thoughts to have. Like, you can just throw something up on the internet, and you know, if the algorithm is in your favor, all of a sudden, you know, a million people can be seeing it. Or if you get, you know, rated by someone with hundreds or thousands of viewers, just all of a sudden you have all these eyeballs on you. It is, you know, I feel like kind of as channels grow, you know, they 20 average viewers, 30 average viewers, 40, they just kind of slowly progress. It's more comfortable. But I mean, if you're just 20, 30 viewers of friends like you always have in the channel, and then someone raids you with, like, you know, 100 people or 200 people, all of a sudden anxiety just can like kick into overdrive. You know, you're like, holy, what is going on here? So no, I totally agree. Yeah.
That actually well, it turns out it didn't happen to me, which makes it even more embarrassing. But so do you remember, it was sort of, there was a day or so, a week or so ago, where there was these new like follow bot type things that were like claiming to raid people and claiming to host people and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was taking a break from Twitch for that week, but yeah, I saw it all over Twitter.
Oh
it
my
was
God.
going crazy.
I got by that. I got by that so hard. Like, you know, some user, you know, follows. I'm like, oh, thank you, you know, and then half an hour, same user hosts me for 750 something viewers, and I'm just like, is this? Because I hadn't heard of it at all, because I'm crap on social media. I'm never on it.
Yeah.
And I just like, okay, so Chad, if this is real, just don't let me fuck up. Like, just you know, like to the like 20 people in chat. And obviously it never happened, but there was just that feeling of like, ooh, like that's how I would feel if suddenly 750 extra people just dropped on me.
Right.
Which is, it's all contextual though, I think, you know, like you say, like you know, it doesn't feel weird to have like 20, 30, 40, 50, if that's what you're kind of getting, or even if you're getting 100, 150. But I recall, in the context of, I recall the first time I got rated by like 10 people, and I had like 5 people in there. I'm like, 15 people in here right now.
Right.
And so that felt at the time like, fuck, that felt like a really, and it still is a great thing, but in the context of, like, I guess the size of the community, like, it's sort of like 750 is like
Holy
too
crap.
much. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's so, yeah, that's so true. It just totally depends, I guess, on like what you normally would have on. I think that's why a lot of people enjoy when, you know, people with like 20 or 30 viewers go and raid somebody with like 0 viewers or 1 or 2. They like to see that reaction. But there is like something that I don't really ever hear anybody talk about. Like, there is that anxiety for the person actually streaming a little bit, you know?
Well, yeah. I remember Cranberry Pudding telling me about this when he was like right at the start, like, you know, early, probably like pre-affiliate days. He got rated by like 40 or something like that, and like, that's, for someone who's got less than 10, getting rated by 40, if it's never happened and you've never even been in front of 20 people before.
Right. Like, what do I do? What do I say?
In a way, nothing changes, but there is just this like perceived, like, oh, this suddenly got a little, just like X amount more real.
Right.
And so, yeah, I actually don't think, I wouldn't really want to raid, like, if I was raiding with 20 plus, I wouldn't want to do it to someone with less than someone who like I felt like it might like tilt them a little bit, like it might be too much for them.
Yeah.
I definitely look for something where like a kind of sweet spot where it would be like a really like good boost for them that day, but like they're not gonna like freak out about it.
Right. No, yeah. And I think it's interesting too with rating. I just feel like I see it's really cool seeing all these communities kind of like raid each other constantly, and you just kind of see, 15 or 20 of these people that you follow, just like they're all the communities are kind of growing together. It's really, really cool to see. Um, yeah, it's awesome just to see streamers, like we're talking about earlier, that have been streaming as long as we have, or some that started even later, like just growing. And it's so fascinating. It's so cool when you think about it.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I love seeing the overlap. Like, there's people who, from one person's channel, maybe like 20% of their chat will always be in another person's channel, and then another 20% will always be in another person's. It's like if you could draw like a Venn diagram of like all the crossover, it'd be fucking insane to see.
My favorite is when you just hop into somebody's stream and you just kind of like say something, or like, hello, like what's going on, dude, or something, and then all of a sudden you get like 4 or 5 people going like yo, Porto, good to see you, or something, and just like, oh yeah, the whole crew's here.
Yeah,
that's
wild.
awesome.
Really cool. And yeah, it's driven by like, man, I don't even know, like in the wider kind of community of people I interact with, like probably 30 or so creators, like simultaneously putting this stuff out. And it's that's one of the things I found as another challenge, and it's kind of a good problem to have, but still kind of a problem, is I've found it a little bit hard to be as supportive of all the people I wish I could support as I can, because just there's so many.
Yeah.
Have you found similar challenges?
100%. It's and the other thing too is like, you might not believe me, but I'm really not the most social person outside of streaming. Like, I'm definitely much more of an introvert. And when I do press that go live button, it totally is like this other kind of character who just, like, all of a sudden I get all this energy and talk nonstop. But I'm absolutely not like that in real life. Or I mean, well, like outside of streaming. But yeah, so, and sometimes I like hop into people's chats, and like I watch a ton of streams like all throughout the day, and just I don't always hop into chat and say hello. So yeah, and especially as continue to grow and see a lot of new people and meet a lot of new people, like you want to support them, but like if you got like hundreds of people or dozens of people, it's really difficult to hop in and talk to everybody. So I always tell people who hop in my stream, like, even if you hop in for 2 seconds, like, it means the absolute world. Like, I immensely appreciate every single second, whether they're chatting or lurking or whatever. Like, every second means so much.
Yeah, even the decision to just say hi is that's a decision that, like, it seems like not a lot of effort to like click on someone's thing and say hi Zephyrs or hi Porto or hi whoever, but that's still a decision to do it as opposed to not do it, and so that's that does mean a lot. I totally agree.
Yeah, and there's decisions like every step if you think about it, like of all the names listed to click on yours, of everybody in chat to like put your name out there, and then as you just go deeper, like with hosts or following, or and then when like financial, like it's just blows my mind that there's somebody out there that wants to send a bit or a sub or something like that. I'm just like, holy crap, dude, like it's just mind blowing. And it's crazy. And of course, like, never ever have to financially support or anything like that. I mean, just like lurking or even saying hi is like an immense amount of support. And yeah, just people are amazing, man. Friends are amazing.
Yeah, they really are. I want to go back to something you said before I forget about it.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you're more of an introvert off stream.
Yeah. I'm very, you might not believe, but I'm like very quiet off stream.
This is fascinating to me because you're not the only streamer who I've spoken to who has said this. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, you're not. You're not. And you know, these are also like people who on stream have kind of gregarious, charismatic personalities. You know, it begs the question: what is it that drew you to? Well, I know what drew you to starting it. You mentioned that with the remake, but what is it that motivated you to continue something which is essentially a kind of social endeavor?
For me, streaming, like I know people stream for a lot of different reasons, but for me, like personally, I stream for it to be like an escapist kind of
Mm,
thing
mm,
from just so many different things in life. So for to be able to play not even just games, but to be able to have people like really close friends to talk to about their lives and about what's going on in the world. It's definitely become like an escapist kind of thing for me. And you know, in some ways it's crazy as it sounds, in some ways like streaming is like the most one of the most honest things I've ever done for myself. It's to be able to just it's almost like a diary or a journal, you know,
mm.
where you like keep track of your flow of thoughts every single day. And you know, no matter what happens, no matter how long it continues or if it ends tomorrow, you know, I'm really really happy that I started in the first place.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. I haven't heard it described like that, like a journal. I can see that though, actually. It's sort of a weird futuristic journal though, in which you get the input of others. It's a journal that is shared, I guess. Mm.
Right. It's like a video journal almost.
Yeah, yeah. In real time. It's wild. And that you say it's one of the more honest things you've done. I can't quite explain why, but I feel the same way. I feel like this is for me, was kind of a weird leap of faith. I don't know if I knew it at the time, but a weird leap of faith into something different. Why do you say honest?
Um, I just feel like it's a very good way to express yourself creatively,
Mm,
you know? And there's like so many ways you can be creative through streaming, through your like overlay or your scenes or your alerts or the type of games you play or like
yeah.
what you want your content to be about. Like there's so many avenues for creativity. And I think you know, just kind of saying like this is what I want to do and this is how I want to do it. And I just want it to be honest for myself and to just to make it as good and high quality as possible.
Mm,
Um, you know, because I've over the years I've always wanted to do YouTube, like
mhm.
for forever. I've always wanted to do YouTube. And there's always been like some mental barrier there just to kind of, I don't know if it's like getting the subject or like kind of putting it all together. Like I've bought in all the gear and I have everything like to just press the button, but just kind of putting it all together, I've always struggled with. And I feel like Twitch has kind of been a good, maybe like precursor to
Ah,
YouTube.
yes, a gateway drug.
Exactly. Like the creative juices have kind of sparked a little bit, and I'm
Mm,
like, what if I did maybe a little bit of this, or what if
mm.
I kind of went more that way? So yeah, I think yeah.
What kind of content would you be thinking about creating on YouTube? I know you do have a YouTube channel, like you've got your Bloodborne Let's Play up there. But what kind of content would you create, or did you have in mind specifically for YouTube?
Um, well,
If this isn't like a spoiler or anything like that.
no, you're good. You're good. Well, I've always wanted to do. Ironically, I've always wanted to do a podcast as well.
Yeah.
And like I've just been fascinated with podcasts for the past couple of years. Like Joe Rogan kind of like started the podcast drug train, and then been doing multiple since then. So I think like a podcast would be really cool, and be really cool to just have like multiple people on and just collab, and kind of like how we're doing now. But I don't know. I mean, the other thing I was thinking would be like tutorials or like advice, like to kind of be streaming in the morning and then do like YouTube videos about like advice or, ideas for growing your stream or content creation, or like, maybe I don't want to say product reviews, because like I feel like everybody does product reviews, but I don't know.
That's an interesting. Sorry to interrupt. That's like kind of that's one I contemplated as well. That kind of advice, and that's actually how I came to doing content. Was I was honestly trying to find a way to grow the Twitch stream by making discoverability on another platform, and I sort of thought, okay, well, maybe I could do some like lessons I've learned from streaming or something like that. And I tried to record myself talking, and I don't know, I felt weird. Yeah, I felt wooden. And I watched it back and I was just cringed a lot. And so I thought, and I think for me, it was just that I don't know if I want to position myself in the role of,
expert,
he who holds the knowledge, and so like, but then like once I got this idea of speaking with other people, I feel like the same sort of thing can just come out from the conversations. So for me, this suited my style a little bit better, but I've definitely contemplated the kind of more tips and YouTube guide kind of thing.
It's kind of interesting because even as we were talking about earlier, like sometimes the more long form content is the more authentic and real content. And sometimes the more like spliced together, edited, and 10-15 minute tips and tricks video, I mean, sometimes that's not as authentic as the longer form version could be.
Useful though, like I definitely consume some of that stuff. It 100% has its place. I got a couple of my go-tos, and it just, I guess you sort of just find your niche.
Yeah,
I've always liked one-on-one conversations.
Yeah, I mean, and they can go anywhere too. Like that's what's so fun. I mean, I think that's why a lot of, at least that's for me, why Joe Rogan like drew me in so much, years ago, was just like, dude, we're having a conversations about 10 different subjects that like seamlessly flowed from one to the other, and they're so fascinating, like wherever. I mean, because we could just talk about video games for 2 hours, or I mean, we could talk about life or just philosophies, like I was listening to your interview with JP, and I just loved how many different directions that whole entire conversation went throughout all of it. Like, of course, there was like fun stuff about games, but just like, I feel like when a lot of people watch podcasts like this, they really do like the uncovering more about the humanity side of the person, and it like really breathes life into them a little bit,
For sure. And the fact that these things can kind of go in any direction is great. It sort of gives it its, every conversation is unique due to like the personalities involved, and I've always thought of gaming and Twitch as kind of the jumping off point, and it can kind of go anywhere from there. I think the fact of the matter is though that like it is the thing which I am currently most fascinated in, is more so Twitch and streaming rather than the games themselves, because I've always liked games, and I always will like games, but just this phenomenon of this thing we're doing, like I speak about it with friends who aren't involved, and I've got this one friend, he's an ex-colleague, and a creative type, but in a much different way, and he's fascinated with it. And so like we have like conversations for hours where he's like trying to figure out like what the hell it's all about, and because it's a strange new world thing we're embarking on. Do you see yourself? I know we don't have crystal balls or anything like that. Do you see yourself potentially doing this full time in the future?
I mean, man, that would be a dream. I think I would want to do more just content creation in general full
Mm,
time
mm,
and have Twitch be like an aspect of that.
yeah.
I think Twitch is, I don't know. I know some people do it full time, but I think that I don't know. I'd rather spend like 40 hours a week making like YouTube videos and doing, Twitch maybe like a little bit as a part of it rather than like it encompassing the full kind of breadth of it. I think there's a lot of benefits to live streaming, but I think there really is a place that a lot of streamers miss out on in like YouTube and doing YouTube content creation because, then you're live essentially 24/7, and your views and your videos can like compound off of one another,
Mm,
and the growth on YouTube is just so like I feel like it's so much bigger than on Twitch, and so many
yeah.
people just it's interesting when you see those streamers who like they literally just want to play video games, and that is awesome.
Mhm.
And I but then I think there's those others who are like really focused and like they're looking to see how they can grow and to see like what new things they can do, and really satisfy that maybe that creativity side more so than that gaming side.
Yeah.
And I definitely feel like I started in the gaming side with Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I've very much like transitioned over into the creativity side to where now, um, like this whole weekend, I've pretty much been transitioning from like Streamlabs OBS into like regular OBS.
Oh, you made the change as well?
Oh, I'm trying, and oh my god, it's good. It's such a pain in the butt, but I think yeah, I'm making the switch over. But like
Okay.
I'm resetting up all the scenes, and I'm just like, dude, this is so fun again to be able to like maneuver things around and kind of change up your scenes. Like there's always that creativity spark with streaming and so many different things, and I think a lot of people maybe kind of overlook that. They just want the games.
Yeah, the stuff on the side is really fun, like the overlays and the just the scene designs and the maybe just down to even like a stream title or a concept for how you're going to play something and how you're going to try and make your version of it unique, to the on-screen persona. Everything, the whole presentation is 90% of the fun for me. So I totally get that.
No, yeah.
Can I ask, you're making the change from slobs to OBS, and you are not the first, nor the second, third, fourth, or 25th I've heard say this in recent months. Do tell. Why have you made the change?
Um,
Why should I?
there, um, I'm really not even convinced like it's going to be that much better yet, but I know there's a lot of plugins with OBS that you can really like take that customization of your stream even further.
Mm,
One thing I think would be really fun is to have like channel points that people can redeem and have them be interactive. Like, sometimes they could redeem a channel point and like a GIF could play, or like the nano leaves behind me could change colors and like I don't have to touch anything. I
that's
think
cool.
that'd be really cool. And stuff like that's not as readily available with Streamlabs. And then a lot of people said too, Streamlabs uses a lot more CPU power.
Mm.
So, and I'm streaming off of my MacBook, so I'm already like pretty tapped out for power. And
That's
so
right. You're on a MacBook, but like you've got a huge monitor, right?
I do. It's the weirdest setup. Like going back, I bought this MacBooks because I love the portability of a laptop to be able to just go in the living room with Wi-Fi and like I can do stuff on the computer. But like looking back, I definitely should have bought a PC. But yeah, I have a 38-inch LG ultra wide monitor, which is in a weird aspect ratio. So I have it split when I'm playing games, and like the right side is like these big black borders on the top, and yeah, I should have gone for a dual monitor. I feel like I got the wrong computer and I got the wrong monitor, but like I'm making it work. And when I'm like editing stuff in Premiere Pro, having like an ultra wide is actually pretty awesome.
Oh, I bet.
Uh, but yeah, it's also weird too, because like there's times where someone will send something like in chat and be like, let's watch this YouTube video and react, but I'm either using my like 38-inch 21:9 monitors, so like if I pull it up for everyone to see, it's just really weird aspect ratio for them, and yeah, it's funky.
It's weird, but you know, you always make do with what you've got. Like
Exactly.
I actually started on a laptop too, way back when, and it's I can guarantee you a less powerful laptop than you're using right now. And looking back, I'm like, how did that even stream anything? Like, how was I even able to stream a video of my face? But I subsequently was like, okay, I got to get something a little. I sort of built what at the time I thought was like the cheapest gaming PC that would provide good enough quality. Like I tried to strike this chord of like, okay, if I spend, you know, like $1,500 or like about $2,000 in total, like can I make a stream setup that does all the things, that doesn't look too janky, that, you know, has enough processing power? And even though like there are limits to what I can do, I kind of enjoy that saying that limitation breeds creativity. I kind of enjoy working within the confines of what the computer can do.
Yeah. I mean, that's totally true. A lot of people have said Streamlabs is a little bit more of like that CPU. Like it uses a little bit more CPU than like regular OBS does. So I've only ever been able to stream in 720p, and that like maxes my CPU out pretty hardcore. Yeah. So I'm hoping maybe I'll be able to get 1080p out of OBS, but I don't know. We'll see.
Time will tell. With the internet speeds in Australia, my dreams of 1080 out of my hands. So one of these days, I guess.
Is internet that bad in Australia?
Real crap. It's the government rolled out this NBN, they called it, National Broadband Network. They started rolling it out like 10 years ago, and it's a national farce. Like in order to save money, there were two ideas. Basically, they went with copper wiring, and it's this like it was outdated before they installed it, and they like rolled it out for the whole country as this like national, the best internet possible, because the internet speeds here were bad anyway. And so it's like a friend of mine said, a friend from France was over here, and I think it was after I got my NBN upgraded to help the stream. I had to like try and get an even better version. And she's like testing. She's like, oh, so now it's like 2003 in Europe. I'm like, oh god.
Oh god. What's your download and upload?
My upload is at best 18 to 20 Mbps. Download is more like 45. That's good for Australia. But that's good.
Wow.
So, you know, doing what I can.
Yeah, I think we had like 300 download and upload before I started streaming, and you need the upload for streaming.
Yeah.
And I remember calling our internet provider to like upgrade the plan, and I was like, I see this one online that's like 1,000 down, which I don't care about, and then 40 upload. I want that one. And she didn't know what one it was, and she was just like, yeah, there's so much you can do with 1,000. I'm like, I don't care about the 1,000. I want the one that's the 40 upload. And she's like, but this one's 1,000. And it was hilarious.
Why wouldn't you want to download everything?
Exactly. Well, it's interesting because like I feel like downloading is almost for like consumption, and upload is for like creativity.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit. I mean, I guess unless you're like, you know, face calling for work or something.
Us creatives overlooked once again.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, especially as I'm like uploading some of these like 2 or 3 hour playthroughs, I'm sure like you're in a similar situation with uploading like the podcasts. Like when they're like 2 hours long, it just takes forever to upload to
Forever.
YouTube.
Yeah,
You're
it
just
really
like,
does.
I've done this thing now where I'll just like upload it right before I go to bed, and then right when I wake up. There's been times I've like woken up like coming in to start streaming, and it's like 99% left, and I'm like, come on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I made a huge mistake. So I use VSDC as a video editing software. As you upload it, you can choose the bit rate. And I didn't realize exactly how to use it the first time round, and I was choosing like 20,000 bit rate. It was just the default, and there's like a 3.5 hour video at 20,000, and my PC is just chugging hard, like it feels like it's gonna die for hours. And it was only, and which is ridiculous because the quality of the video call, like the quality of this video call, while high, certainly doesn't need 20,000.
Right. Maybe
So
like 6,000.
yeah, now I do it at like 9 or something like that, which is a bit more reasonable. But yeah, the size of some of the files of the early contents, and if you look at the quality of the actual thing, it's like what, in terms of video quality, it's like 20 gigs or something stupid like that.
I mean, live and learn though, right?
Yeah, part of the process, and I kind of like that. Like I kind of like I like trial and error. That's like that's a fun creative process for me. It kind of harkens back to the Dark Souls Soulsborne thing, like you just get wrecked and eventually you get good.
I feel like there's some people who do like YouTube, especially who kind of they'll like upload their videos, and once they kind of start getting better and better ones, they'll start deleting or like hiding their first couple. And then there's others that like, kind of love that trial and error, and they're like, I want you to see my worst video from the very beginning and see where I've came since then.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm actually right now, that's funny you mentioned that. I'm working on just a little like highlights pack or clips package for YouTube from 2020, and I'm sort of doing it I've selected, it's like 20 minutes. I selected it chronologically, and it's really like like some of them are my first clips, and they're like not that good, but I'm like I want to include that because it's you can see that growth, and I think that's helpful for people to know. Not that I think that like this is suddenly the most professional setup possible, but compared to how it started, it definitely is. And it's kind of interesting to see that growth in a short span of time.
I think people would really like that because they'll see like from the very beginning all the way to the very end of the year, and just see, how much difference, quality can improve. Because I'm in the exact same boat. Like I look back my very first game I played on stream, and oh, it was terrible.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
Yeah,
It
it's
was really
cringe
bad.
going back to those things, right?
Right. Right. I feel like you kind of, how long do you think it took you before you kind of, a couple months in, maybe you hit a stride and you're just like, this is kind of the setup, the studio, the look? Because like your whole setup, your studio looks awesome. I love the lights on the ground, and I think it looks really, really nice.
Oh, thank you. I mean, right back at you, dude. I mean, I feel like yours has always looked good, because I think the cam you're using is really good, right? I feel like you're using like a professional cam.
Yeah, it's our photography camera that I kind of stole from wifey.
Thanks, wifey.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, when I first started streaming, like, so what's so funny is like early March, I bought a webcam, like the Logitech webcam, like that everyone always, recommends, because like everyone was recommending it. And then, right when I got it, I realized like, oh, if you buy this little cam link device instead, you can just use like a professional camera. And I already had the professional camera. And so I like sent the webcam back, and like the next day, the pandemic quarantine, everything shut down, and those webcams were like $200 now.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, I should have resold it. No, don't do that. Don't resell it. Don't be a scalper.
Don't be that guy. But to answer your question, actually, I think for me, it would have been I mean, it's never clicked and I'm like, oh, this is it. because I still don't think I'm there. But when I first started feeling like, okay, this is going somewhere, probably would have been a little bit into the Morrowind playthrough, which went on forever. A little bit into that, started getting lighting a bit better, started getting some regulars in chat who are still there. Started to get in this rhythm and sort of develop a rapport with people. I think for me, the technical aspects, though wildly important rather, their importance can't be understated. It still was more important for me to like develop the rapport with chat. I think that was more the groove that I needed to get into. And that probably happened, at a guess, probably about two-ish months in. Took me a couple months to get used to it. How about you?
No, totally the same. Like there's always wanting to make things better, like always wanting to improve quality. But yeah, at the core of it, like nobody cares how many lights you have or your webcam quality or your audio quality if like you just are not an interesting person to be with or don't create like a good atmosphere for people to be in.
Absolutely.
So yeah, first and foremost always has to be, just creating a great community and really having that honest, wholesome interaction and friendship with, the people in chat. Do you have I feel like every time I pop in your chat, Kai is always the legend. Kai's always the one there.
Well, Kai, here's the thing about Kai. He only comes into my streams for GeoGuessr. Like if I'm playing GeoGuessr, he'll be there. Like he somehow has some sixth sense for when I'm doing it. Like he must have like an alert hooked up to his like neural fibers or something like that to know when I get started. It's mostly because he wants to just meme at me.
I love that.
But yeah, no, I think it's, man, dude, GeoGuessr. It's such a good stream game because everyone gets involved. Like and you can, like, for example, you can do someone's home country and do a tour of their home country, and it's like this really great because the world's so big and everyone has things that they know or areas that they know, but there's always gaps in knowledge. And I feel like everyone it's like this great almost analogy for how much we gain from each other in these communities. So yeah, that's where Kai's in there mostly. But he's mostly just roasting me, to be honest.
Dude, it would be so cool to do like Microsoft Flight Simulator and just ask people like, where are you from? And then just fly over to like the city in the game. That'd be a fun idea.
I heard about that I feel like I heard about that yesterday. Someone was saying, I can't remember where I was. Someone was saying that, yeah, that's what some people do. They'll take requests and like fly over people's homes and stuff like that on Flight Sim.
Oh man, Microsoft Flight Simulator, like if you see those videos with the RTX 3090s, like maxed out like computer settings, I cannot believe video games have gotten to this point with graphics.
It's crazy.
Like it is so crazy. I mean, even playing like Demon Souls, like I'll just like turn the camera over to like the fire flame and the sparks, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is a game. Holy crap.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. I think I'm pretty excited to see what becomes of this gen of gaming, like in the PS5 in particular for me. I see that baby just in the right of your screen right there. How have you found it thus far?
If I'm 100% honest, and I'm probably going to get roasted in the comments for this, but like I've only pretty much played PS4 games on it aside from Demon Souls, and I only play video games for the most part when I'm streaming. So like I've only barely touched the capabilities of what it has. So,
it's very early days though. It's very early days. Like, I mean, I think in terms of, I wouldn't even know, there's not even that many new games on the PS5 yet.
Yeah, but I mean, I think I've only played, like, actually played it for like maybe 20, 30 hours. And I know some people did that, you know, in their first 2 days of having one. So do you ever get the sense like I don't know, like you just never know like what the appropriate amount of stream time is, like how long to stay live? And like I feel like I've had some people in my chat before going like, "Oh, you're like ending your stream early or like at 2 hours or 2.5 hours. Like I can stream for like 12 hours. Like why are you ending so early?" And
Well,
have you,
I
have you
don't.
ever thought about that?
Yeah, you know, I don't think that there is more value to a 5 hour stream than there is a 2 hour stream. I think there is, in my view, there's only value in any amount of time of a stream where the streamer wants to be doing it, you know, like, and feels comfortable doing it. I think, you know, obviously there's the exciting 12-hour, 24-hour streams, and that's really cool for sure. And it is cool when you see something like, damn, you've been going for 10 hours? What's going on here? But I generally don't give too much weight to how long I'm going to be streaming in advance. Like I don't go, okay, so today I'm going to do at least, like I generally do at least 4 or 5 hours, but I'm not going to whip myself if I don't.
Wow. Like I like when the 2 hour mark hits, like between 2 and 3 hours, my brain just I can like feel the concentration dip. How do
Mm.
you do like 4 and 5 hours seems tough to me.
Well, I've viewed you. You know, I've watched. Basically, I've seen some of your streams in pretty much their entirety, from like maybe 20 minutes in to like 15 minutes probably before the end. Because it's pretty late on my end. It's like, especially since the time, the daylight savings, it's now like an hour or two later for me. But I would say and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth or anything like that. Your mode of streaming, or like just your stream, the way it works, everyone comes in and is like super psyched to see you and like wants to get in and chat with you, and you do a great job of handling that. I could see how. Well, you know what? I think if you did 4 or 5 hour streams, you'd have more lulls, and people would still be there watching you and hanging out. But like you get those like periods of like, it's all on, it's all happening, and then you might get like an hour where like just 1 or 2 or 3 people are kind of going back and forth with you, and most people are just lurking. It sort of finds a different rhythm, I guess. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, I don't think I could do 5 hours if there were 5 hours of exactly how your 2 hours are.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty active as well. Like I do a lot of chatting and interaction with chat, but even chat themselves after a couple of hours will chill out and you know, recede, you know, put their feet up and sort of step away from the keyboard or something like that. I tend to actually get better after a couple of hours. I feel like I'm more on point.
Interesting.
Yeah,
You
I'm
kind
a bit,
of like ease into it.
Yep, yep, yeah. I'm a bit crappy for the first hour. I'm kind of waking up and being like, so how do we play this game? What is this game again?
Yeah.
Yeah, and probably between the 2 and 5 hour mark, I'm at my best, and then after the 8 hour mark, it really goes downhill. But that's good content too, because that's when I'm most likely to say something that gets me banned, or you know, like some buffoonery or something like that. But I don't know how they do the 24-hour streams. I'll say that much.
Oh yeah, I've never. I think the most I ever did was like 13 hours for like trying to finish a game in one day.
You did a
And
13-hour stream.
yeah, I think it was The Last of Us Part 1 because I played Last of Us Part 2 in July, and then I think on like the 23rd or 24th of the month we beat it. And then I was gonna like, oh, we got enough time to do Last of Us Part 1, the first one. I remember it's a really short game. And I totally like underestimated the last like 15 hours. I'm like, oh yeah, we're like right around the corner. The ending's right there. And
Yeah.
then no, that it was not right there. We still had a lot to do. But yeah, like man, some like my buddy Ice Beams, man, dude, he does like 10, 12-hour streams every single day,
Yeah.
like 5 days a week. And I'm just like, I don't know how. I don't know how you do it.
Some people just get into that rhythm. Like I did 9 hours of GeoGuessr last night, and that's a little longer than normal for me. And by the end, I definitely was like, guys, I got it. This is the end. Where I'll send you somewhere else now because I am unable to express and articulate my thoughts anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, some people just have that on lock. Like Cranberry, he does really long ones. Audax Smoke does really long ones. Like Aguscoon JP now with these speed runs. I mean, the runs themselves are around the 9 hour mark. So it's like, well, guess we're doing a 9 hour stream.
It's wild.
It's crazy. I don't know. I sort of like if I was forced to do a time period of the same time for every stream, probably like 5 to 6 would be my ideal.
Yeah. I feel like deep down, I feel like I really want to transition, maybe not fully away, but like kind of transition away from playing games on stream and eventually just kind of get to the point of doing like a podcast live on stream. Yeah, I just like chatting with people. I mean, I feel like just collaborations is just such a win-win situation for everybody. It's really awesome to meet new people. It's really awesome to like meet new communities and just like ask people like what started you off in streaming, like what motivates you, what inspires you, where do you want to go. Like there's just so many questions, like talking to people and kind of like what you were saying, like really just uncovering the art of streaming and content creation. And just I find that so much more fascinating at this point in my life than, you know, finishing Demon Souls or finishing a video game. Unless it's Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, then we'll drop everything for that.
Well, yeah, I've moved in a similar direction actually. Like I now do I think I did 4 streams this week. I think 2 of them, I mean, GeoGuess is kind of a game, but it's kind of just Google Earth. And, you know, I do streams where I just read, you know, the glorified just chatting streams in a way.
I'm gonna be honest, you're like the history ones are probably my favorite ones to just lurk in and just like put it up on the TV and like last night I was just like getting dinner and stuff prepared with wifey and just like I always love to have people up on the TV and just like lurk in their streams, but whenever you do like the reading ones, those are absolutely my favorite. Like keep doing those are amazing.
Thank you. I'm glad you said that because there's some of my favorites to do. And like I had that same idea as you have. Like I love games, but I don't want to be limited to just that.
Yes.
The possibilities are endless though, you know, like, and that's why I'm so fascinated to see, you know, both what has happened for channels such as yours, but also what will come up, which is a perfect segue into 2021. What's coming up for you this year, Zephyrs? What have you got planned? Anything in the near future for the channel?
Well, I definitely want to focus on doing like a podcast and like just having at least like once a week having someone on and just really diving into like what like kind of what I said motivates them and inspires them. I want to do I have never done a charity stream. I've never done like a real like 12-hour, this is a 12-hour stream kind of day. I feel like there's a lot of types of streams like that I still haven't done and I really want to dip my toes in and do those. But yeah, definitely podcasting, you know, charity stream, 12-hour stream, maybe like I see some people do these like if you hit a sub goal, we'll do like a sub community stream or do like Among Us, or I still have never played Among Us, by the way.
That's because you can't, right? Because you don't have the PC for it.
No, right. Because when I'm streaming, I have like all the quality settings maxed out as high as they'll go, and my CPU is always like 80-90%. So if I even try to play a game on it, it'll like blow up in my face. So yeah, PC gaming's a no-go until I get like a real PC. But I feel like I'm just missed out on Rust is a big thing now.
Yeah, Rust has come back. Apparently, everyone's playing that now.
Right? Like I've never played Minecraft. I've never played Fortnite. I've never played, there's just like so many games that I just feel like would be fun to do, maybe like a once a week. Hey, we're gonna try Minecraft for the first time, and even if it's for an hour or two, like just kind of get like reactionary things off of it. I feel like that'd be pretty fun.
Totally. Zephyrs, I should have known this is going to happen. I think I said to you at the start, I'm going to try and keep it short. I'm looking at we're at the 2 hour 15 mark. We're gonna have to wrap it up, dude. There's so much more I'd like to talk to you about, but like I said with you before we started recording, like for a lot of the times that I record content, it's the first time I've spoken in person, so to speak, with you guys. And so I don't know, it's just kind of nice just chatting about whatever for a couple of hours. I don't feel like we really hit on some of the things I wanted to hit on, but that that just means we have to do it on your podcast sometime.
Right? Or another round on here.
Hell yes.
So more opportunities.
Oh yeah, dude. Thank you so much for being here and for your time. I'm very excited to see where 2021 takes us both.
Dude, thank you so much for having me, Porto. I really, really, really appreciate it. I've always loved hanging out with you, man. I've always loved seeing your channel grow, and I cannot wait to see what 2021 brings you as well, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate you, dude. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.